Can you walk through what it's like building an MCP server?
Yeah, I mean, I can try. There will probably be a lot of people who hear this and are like, oh my God, that's way off. But yeah, I think, I look at it in terms of what are the most impactful functions of like the application that I'm trying to access across the MCP. And I've done this a couple of times with turning internal applications that I've built into having like kind of companion MCPs, because it's really great to give people a web app to go to like build an email campaign with AI. But also if they want to do that from Claude Code or Goose or Cursor, having an MCP that can do all of that as well fits into some people's workflows better. You already have like, it sounds like a good sense of, right, like the things you want people to get out of it, whether it's like pulling clips or the list of guests or the schedule of episodes or, something like that. And so figuring out those, and then like those become your tool functions, which are like the core capability of your MCP. And then really fine tuning the tool function instructions, especially, kind of planning for a user who might have like 15 plus MCPs, enabled in their session, and being like, okay, like how are they going to be able to casually and conversationally say, show me Nick's latest guest on his podcast, and have that route to the appropriate MCP and, get them exactly what they want. And so that's where I think that was one surprising part in the first couple MCPs I built, was fine tuning those tool function like instructions to really like hone in and make them really, really capable of kind of like grabbing those contextual inferences that it should, kick in and grab something for the user.
Yeah, one thing I've struggled with is going kind of from single player to multiplayer mode. So meaning like building something for myself, and then how do you extend that so my whole team can use it? And I've struggled with, do I make it a web app? Do I make it more of an MCP thing that's more native in their workflow? And lately I've been gravitating more towards the MCP kind of style of thinking, because when you build something for yourself, you just intimately know how it all works. And the second you give it to your team, they're brand new users that you have to support and walk through of like, oh, I made this decision and that decision. And so do you find that in your work too, of the struggle from single to multiplayer?
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good way of putting it. And we were actually, I was talking about this with someone last night that I work with, about whether to go with a web application for the team or just go straight to an MCP and like agent skills. And I think my recommendation was, you can start with a web app, because you can always extend that capability into an MCP built off of those endpoints. And so I think recommended like go with the web app, right? And then you can then build the MCP off of that and give people the best of both worlds, or whatever makes sense to them. But that's such a good way of putting it too, though, is like you understand everything intimately about something that you build, and then you kind of like turn it loose on people and they ask you questions for something that you feel like is obvious. And so that's been like a good learning too, and like stepping back and really being able to receive all of that as like the very valuable user feedback that it is, because it tells you so much about what you have built by the questions that people ask about it. My typical process, I think, is to prototype something with a web app, get it to where it's making sense for people and it's actually functional and they're able to use it. And then, yeah, after that, figure out if we need to extend it with like agent skills or MCPs.
That makes sense.